Hi everybody, hope you're all well and healthy. I wanted to touch base with a couple of stretches that I think you might find useful, especially whilst you're at home and you may have found yourself to be sitting more across the last few weeks. It happens, and we know from sitting for too many hours we can get really tight. So parts of the body can get really tight is the front of the hips, into the thighs, into the quads, the lower back especially, into the glutes, into the hamstrings, and you might even find it in other parts of the body. So there's a couple of stretches I think you might find really useful. Really easy to do at home on your own. You don't really need to go out and buy any props of any kind. I'm going to show you the first one with a block, but you could do this with a cushion, maybe a rolled up blanket, maybe two cushions. In fact, soft cushioning is probably a bit kinder than something hard. And the way that you're going to set yourself up for this first posture, which is a nice posture to get into the front of the hips and the hip flexors, which can shorten and really tighten if you're in this position for a lot of the day, is this posture. So we're going to raise the hips with the prop. So the best way to do this is to come down first, have your rolled up blanket or your cushion, whatever you've got handy, have it in your hands. Press the feet into the floor, give yourself a little lift and slide under your prop. You're going to be sitting on it, so it's not going to be under the lower back, it's not going to be kind of past the tailbone. You're going to be sitting on it, and you should feel like it's on the flattest part, pretty much at the very base of the spine. So when you take your legs down, you're not collapsing off of it, or it's not too far into the back. So just take a few seconds there, arrange it. Now if you've gone with something very thick, you might feel this quite strongly, especially when you take the legs out. It might be too intense if what you've gone with is very thick. So you may need to adjust. Equally, if you've gone with something very thin, like a thin pillow, then you might not feel anything. So we're not looking for pain, we're not looking for zero, we're looking for a quality stretch that is manageable. It doesn't affect breathing, doesn't put us in any pain, just enough. So when you feel that you've found that sweet spot, okay, shoulders relaxing down, hands can rest on the belly, or maybe you want to take the arms down alongside you. You can test out now extending the legs down fully. Okay, now when you do that, that's obviously going to change the setup slightly and add to maybe some intensity here. If you need to make any adjustments, make them. And when you do land and you feel that you can be here for a few breaths, we're talking maybe 30 seconds to begin with, maybe building up to a minute, 2 minutes, 3 minutes. Use the breath. So we forget about breathing, the best tool we have at our disposal. So breathe in fully. Exhale through the nose or the mouth. And let that help some of the weight of the body sink down, some level of, if you're tensing, gripping or holding this, let some of that go. We're not always aware that we're doing it until we kind of check in, and then we know, okay, I'm actually holding this in my lower back, I'm kind of locking in my hip sockets. So again, use the breath in, breathe out, and continue to allow, or start to allow, some weight of the body, some tensing, or anything else you might be doing, go. And you'll find after about a minute, I reckon about a minute to 2 minutes, this changes. Where you felt this at the most at the beginning, where it was most prominent in terms of the sensation of stretch, will change. You could hold this for as long as feels good, as long as you're not in any pain. If you're in pain, if the lower back is not happy, if there's a vulnerability there or a weakness, or we feel unstable in that lower back, I would recommend not stacking up something too high at the beginning. Okay, if it still doesn't feel good, then you might want to actually have some padding that also supports the lower back and is under the sacrum, so you're leveled off, so there's not a gap here. So we need to listen to what feels good. We need to find a quality setup, somewhere that we can breathe freely. We're not going to the edge. The edge is, I've gone to pain. We don't need to go to the edge. There's no point. And And then we can be here and we can allow the body to adapt and to open. So that's the first stretch. Pretty easy to do at home. Don't really need much for it. I'm going to leave the house for it. First stretch, lower back, onto the hip flexors, maybe a bit into the quads, and into perhaps the abdomen a little bit here. To come out of this, bend the knees, bring the feet onto the floor, give the hips a little lift, slide out what you've got underneath you, and gently lower the back down. Okay, the first few seconds, there's a rebounding sensation. Things are just settling back into slightly renewed states with slightly different sense of space as they come and bounce back in. You might want to hug the knees in. You know, just do what feels good. If the body's telling you just to be very still for a few moments, just be still. If it feels good to hug in, hug in. Okay. So that's the first of the postures. We're going to make our way up to sitting. So roll up or prop yourself up and come to sitting. And we'll move on to the second posture. So this one's a little bit more meaty. So this one is going to focus more on the quads, getting into the hip flexors, and actually again the lower back as well. You may feel this somewhere else. So you're going to need for this some props, pillows, books, everything that you can use is going to be helpful. I'm going to demonstrate with, let me actually grab this cushion. So I've just got a standard cushion that I'm going to fold over, and I'm actually going to put it underneath, and I'm going to sit there, and I'm going to stack up. So we're going to sit on something, be able to balance, and you're going to bring one leg in front of you. I'm going to show you this sideways on, and the left knee will say, the first side is going to be bent with the shin on the floor, on top of the foot on the floor. So the higher you stack up, the obviously the kinder this is here. If you have nothing here and you're coming the whole way down, that's going to be probably crazy intense, probably not manageable or realistic. So finding a point where we can not be in pain, we don't want pain in the knee, we don't want a sense of pressure, not looking for that, somewhere manageable. If you think about pain on a scale of 1 to 10, for me, 10 is pain, we're looking for 5. Maybe 5.5 at a push, quality. Okay, when you've found your setup, relax the shoulders down. And again, I'm going to show you this from a sideways on position. Bring your hands out to the side of you. Try to relax the shoulders. So palms can flatten down, or fingers, whatever you need for the first part. And we're going to lift the hips just slightly off the prop. As you do that, you're going to tilt the pelvis slightly down and under. So we're not turning, we're not kind of pulling the pelvis in this direction. We're not going to pull the tailbone this way. We're going to slightly draw down and then lower the hips back down. I'll show you this on the other side. This will change everything probably after this point, how it feels. So we lift slightly, we draw the tailbone slightly down, so we make that tilt, and then we lower down. What you might feel that this has changed. This is not now so strong, and actually you might have a little bit more freedom to go slightly further back. That may not happen, it might happen. If the knee is popping into the air, we've gone way too far. The knee, the shin needs to stay down. Try to relax your shoulders. Try to not tense. So hip sockets, the thighs, the knees, try to not squeeze or clench or make tension. It's not really going to help. If we make tension, we're just putting a barrier to stretch, creating a barrier there. So try to breathe in fully. Breathe out fully, through the nose, through the mouth, however you need to breathe to let some tensing, if you are, go. Again, if you're in pain here, this is too far, you've gone too far. You may need to be here, you may need to be on something extra. This needs to be manageable. When you've stayed here for, you might want to start 30 seconds to a minute, 2 minutes, build it up. Come out slowly, work the hands forwards. Lean a little bit to the right side. Collect with your left hand. So don't take the knee out, keep the knee facing forwards, collect and slowly bring that foot forwards. If that doesn't work for you, you may need to slightly roll off, remove, and then however best. You just got to find a safe way to get out of there. Extend the legs fully. You're probably going to be sitting on your props still. Extend the legs fully, give them a little shake off. And we'll set up for the second side. So we're going to bend the left knee, or you're doing your right side. Okay, if you have a tighter side, if this is it, you might need an extra cushion. You're going to take the right knee behind. This needs a little bit of working through. Get your setup. I'll show you this as something different. So I'm going to roll this cushion. Oh, that's nice. Okay. And when that feels good, again, shin is on the floor, knees on the floor, no pain, quality amount of stretch. Think 5 on the scale, 1 to 10. 10 is pain. We'll take the hands out a little bit wider, nothing too extreme, keep the shoulders relaxed. Take a breath and slightly lift off, just give yourself a little freedom so you can move and tilt down. So we're not tilting outwards, we're tilting slightly down, and then lower yourself back down. That might have created the perfect space to stay still, just there, just through that action. Or you might have found that actually you've got some freedom to slightly move further back. Again, finding what's enough. Keep the left foot flat, keep the left knee not from collapsing or forgetting about the left leg. And shoulders relaxed as much as they can be here. And again, you can stay here 30 seconds, a minute, 2 minutes. Just enough time so that you feel you've got in there rather than just 10 seconds. Probably isn't going to be long enough. Give it enough time. You can't go wrong with this. I try and do this every day. Literally every day. These areas of the body get really tight, really tight. So come out slowly, work your way forwards, lean onto the side, that's the best way to do it. Slowly bring the right leg in front of you and extend the legs. And then maybe give them a little shake out when you get back to centre. Amazing. Come back to facing forwards. And that's just a couple of, I think, going to be useful stretches. I'm going to keep showing some more when I can. Just a couple of good stretches for the back, for the front, and for the quads. So hopefully they're of some use. Give them a try out. Drop us any feedback when you've tried them out. And guys, if you have any requests for anything in particular, let us know on the post when this goes live so I can keep tailoring and feeding you some more stretches throughout the coming weeks. Have a good new year, take care of yourselves, and I look forward to seeing